This is awesome. I saw an interview with you, and you talked about getting the role of Detective Gordon. Um, and it was what made me think of this interview was when I got Lex Luthor. People asked me the questions like, "Did you watch Gene Hackman? Did you do the research? What did you do?" And I thought, this is kind of like, you know, I know that you were playing him younger though, like before, right? It's the earlier years.
Yeah.
So were you putting a lot of stress on yourself because you knew the fan base was so huge and
Well, sure, for sure. But that's like such a like vague pressure to put on yourself. Like, don't fuck this up. How? What's the specific thing? You know what I mean? And so you the way I work is you definitely stress out about it. You definitely like just freak out. And then you go, okay, well, so that's probably undergirding everything for like multiple seasons. So it's certainly the first season. But then you go, all right, well, how do I channel this into something mildly productive? And then you go, it's actually a great scenario. And I will say my conversations with Bruno Heller, who created Gotham, who sort of so the way this happened is the year prior to Gotham, Bruno and I did a pilot for CBS, which never got picked up. It was me and Mandy Moore, actually.
oh, she's so sweet.
She's awesome. She's a doll. And we hit it off, Bruno and I. The pilot didn't go, but I was under a deal at Warner Brothers after that. And unbeknownst to me, Bruno was writing Gotham and they had sold it. And he called me, the following, like January or February the following year, and was like, "Hey, I wrote this part, with you in mind. Like, take a look at it." And I was like, "That's cool. Like, that's no one's ever written a part for me ever, or since." Perhaps more telling. But like, so I read it and I was like, "Wow, yeah, I mean, this is, it was hard to argue against how cool the idea is." So much so that and I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. You might even do the same idea again if you wanted to to do a cop show set in Gotham City. You could do it again even after you've done Gotham. Do you know about this? Yeah.
No.
Okay. So what was cool about it was Bruno talked to me about how, in some senses, you sort of are free of doing some, you know, Commissioner Gordon copy, whether you're copying Oldman or whomever, because you're just seeing him in a completely different chapter of their lives. I mean, you're seeing a rookie police detective, Jim Gordon. So he's in his late 20s, maybe, even though I was in my mid 30s.
Were people saying, well, where's this English accent? Wasn't he like Gary Oldman? Look, I'm the
No, it's funny. Well, what's funny is that Bruno and Danny Cannon, who directed the pilot, was our other main EP besides John Stephen, both English. Like, so they both talk actually like Gary. And I think Danny even knows Gary and like plays soccer, used to play soccer with him. And no, I mean, it just felt like, look, we're doing something completely different. And quite frankly, I mean, as good as Gary Oldman is, and he is pretty phenomenally talented and successful, you, you know, what he was doing in the movies is so different than the role that Gordon needs to play in the series, because Gordon in the series is the focus of the show and needs to play that. In my opinion, always felt like, and this was definitely, I think, what I think Bruno would agree, is like needed to be a little bit of that everyman, needed to have a little bit of that, kind of chip on his shoulder, young guy in a big bad world, not beaten down yet.
To have somewhere to go. You have an arc.
To have somewhere to go. Yeah, yeah. And ironically, what I loved about it, the thing that I loved about it from a character journey standpoint, is most of the time in most series, you see a character succeed and succeed and succeed, and like their arc just they overcome, they have obstacles presenting themselves, they keep overcoming them and overcoming on their way to fulfillment, right? Like you could argue maybe even like Welling's character in Smallville, right? Like he's slowly going to become Superman. But here, not only is our guy not becoming a superhero, he's literally just a flesh and blood man. As he ascends up the arc of the police, hierarchy, the city falls apart. The city like descends into anarchy and has to, like, more and more in order to necessitate Batman, in order to necessitate like what we're ending with, which is that there is a Batman. So it's like he's going up as everything else is falling apart, which I think is such a
Yeah.
cool, kind of inversion of the usual circumstances. So I really dug that, and Bruno's, pretty much a genius, and so he was always smarter than me about sort of contextualizing it and making me feel like, okay, cool. Well, I mean, the worst that'll happen is, the show doesn't quite work, or maybe I'm not as good as, certainly I'm never as good as I hope I would be. Uh, but it's not based on like my impression of a vague Jim Gordon. You know what I mean? Like there's no,
Yeah. I mean, I feel the same way. If I would have been like, I'm going to do Gene Hackman, I'm like, hey, Clark, how's it going? And just, and by the way, Gene Hackman's my favorite, but honestly, I said, just play it real. Just be genuine, be real,
yeah,
have emotions. And once I shaved my fucking head, which you didn't have to do, I was like, all right, I'm here. I'm ready. Put on a suit. I wear short. I'm wearing shorts, sandals, and a t-shirt. This is how I dress normal. You put on a suit and $200-$300 shoes and a tie and give me a mansion and shave my head. I am going to be different.
yeah.
And I needed all that. So, but for you, it was like, hey, I'm Ben Mckenzie. They're going to do my hair a little bit. It's going to be in a different time. But did you feel like day one, you felt like, I feel like this guy. I feel like it.
I felt like they had all of those things that you talked about. All those resources were so teed up. I mean, I remember we shot a pilot. We were not picked up to series, officially yet, but I walked into this 2-story GCPD set that they built. It was got to be, I forget how much, somebody told me how much it cost, but it's definitely $1 million set, if not more. And, to build $1 million 2-story set, I'd never been on a 2-story set. I'd never been on a set where you could have multiple open levels, and 200 background inside of a set before. And I remember showing up, and thankfully they walked me through, I got to see it before I had to film there, and going, okay, all right, got it.
I know it makes
you're gonna have all the toys behind you. Like you're gonna have all the setting's gonna be there. You're gonna have the clothes. You're gonna have the manpower, so to speak, to like support the fact that you are supposed to be a leader of men. Right? Jim Gordon's supposed to be a leader of men. Now you need to be a leader of men. Now you need to. Then the rest is up to you.
That's anxiety. That's like you're sitting there, you're looking at the set going, yep. I'm pretending I'm confident, and inside you're about to shit your pants, and you're going, yeah, I got to step it up, man. I got to fucking step it up.
I remember the first shot of the first day. We were in the set. There were at least 100 or probably 200 background. Oh. It was this whole scene where some bad guy been pulled in and arrested, and he breaks free of the officers that are trying to slam him in the jail cell in the set, and I appear magically on this upper deck and like come down and disarm him, save the day, and that's my introduction, right? Super heroic introduction. So it's great. And we're doing the rehearsals and and we finally start rolling, and I'm literally, I basically come down, descend from the rafters. I wasn't on wires, but I might as well have been. GCPD, I unhand him or whatever. And I literally remember going, GC, my voice cracked. I almost tripped on the stairs. Like I literally went, because my nerves were, I was
shocked.
like, my adrenaline was out of control.